The idea that parties vote the same despite representing districts or states that are all across the country, that's just insane. And so if I could wave the magic wand, I'd get rid of the two parties.
We ended up having kind of a friendly conversation.
With a gun pointed at you?
Washington, D.C. has become a punchline to a never-ending joke.
How come that clap doesn't work?
No, it does. I think the term we use is it's wicked old.
That was the trailer for New York Magazine's Olivia Nuzzi's new Bloomberg show. It's about, it's basically about to get crushed because of the PR that was supposed to be carried out to promote it. Now that PR has been erased thanks to a small group of loud liberals who are upset at her for reporting the truth about how the Democratic Party was covering up Biden's mental decline. So back in July, Nuzzi was announced to lead a 6-episode interview series titled Working Capital on Bloomberg's TV network. And according to Variety, it focuses on candid exchanges with political and business leaders. And there was supposed to be a big PR push for this series, okay? Lots of press around it, a lot of commercials around it, but it was scrapped after Nuzzi wrote an article, an op-ed, if you will, criticizing President Joe Biden and the Democratic Party's attempts to cover up his mental decline. It was titled "The Conspiracy of Silence to Protect Joe Biden. The President's Mental Decline was like a dark family secret for many elite supporters." Now, before I get to some of the takeaways, Cenk, you and I know from personal experience what it was like to tell the truth about Joe Biden. We dealt with a lot of backlash from our own audience about it, but we continued to tell the truth because that's the right thing to do.
Hey, don't scroll away. Come back. Because before the video continues, we just want to urge you to lend your support to TYT. You power our honest reporting. You do it at tyt.com/team, and we love you for it. Yeah, and it's not just backlash you get in public, it's stuff that's underhanded like this that happens behind the scenes. So I would get booked at a university, I would get unbooked in a couple of days. I'd get booked on cable news, I would get unbooked halfway through the day. Wherever I was going to give a speech, etc. Because the thugs that run the Democratic Party think, oh, a debate where you find out who's the better candidate. Ugh, that's terrible. What if you guys pick the candidate that won't service the donors? Well, we can't have that. No, it doesn't matter if he can't walk, talk, or anything like that. Everybody bow their heads to Joe Biden. So I can tell you 1,000 stories of this kind of thuggish behavior. And now let's get to their foot soldiers who help their authoritarian rule at the DNC.
Yeah, and look, before I get into more details, I just want to say, if you happen to be someone who runs a media organization or a company and you immediately cave to an online mob, you have absolutely no right to lead anything, okay? You're weak, you're pathetic, and you are susceptible to a group of anonymous people online throwing a hissy fit over someone actually telling the truth. It's pathetic.
Anna, yes, but that's only a part of the story, right? They're also worried about losing access, and they're worried that these guys, that's basically the Biden team saying, or the Democrats saying, you better not do anything that criticizes us. You remember Mika Brzezinski admitting after 2016 that the Hillary team would call them all the time and tell them what to say and not say on air?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so what do you want to be? You want to be a dog? Like you want to be walked on a leash by the Democratic Party, or do you want to do journalism?
Well, for an enormous part of the mainstream media, the answer is clear. Please walk me like a dog.
Okay, then don't pretend like you're a journalist. But Olivia Nuzzi did the right thing. She publishes this piece. I'm going to give you a few excerpts so you can understand why the elite would be so upset about it. She wrote, in January, I began hearing similar stories from Democratic officials, activists, and donors. All people who supported the president and were working to help reelect him to a second term in office. Following encounters with the president, they had arrived at the same concern. Could he really do this for another 4 years? Could he even make it to election day? These were the actual concerns that were being aired behind the scenes, while publicly, probably the very same people were like, rah, rah, Biden, second term, second term. Things were bad. And they knew things were bad, and they knew others must also know things were bad, and yet they would need to pretend outwardly that things were fine. The president was fine. The election would be fine. They would be fine. To admit otherwise would mean jeopardizing the future of the country, and well, nobody wanted to be responsible personally or socially for that. Nuzzi also made the point that there were good days and bad days for Biden going all the way back to 2020, something that we're also familiar with. But Biden had deteriorated so much that she questioned, like, who's actually in charge here? Who was actually in charge? Nobody knew. But surely someone was in charge. And surely there must be a plan, since surely this situation could not endure. I heard these questions posed at cocktail parties on the coast, but also at MAGA rallies in Middle America. Resistance or QAnon, they shared a grand theory of America in 2024. There has to be a secret group of high-level government leaders who control Biden and who will soon set into motion their plan to replace Biden as the Democratic presidential nominee. Nothing else made sense. They were in full agreement. Now, her July 4th piece was met with mass criticism, especially from a group of Democrats online who weren't happy with the article because she, did the unthinkable in the field of journalism. She did journalism. So they began tweeting at Bloomberg demanding that Nuzzi be fired, okay? But that's not all. They also began to call her racist, a Democratic Party favorite, right? Smear the person you don't like as a racist or one of the other isms. And what they did is they went all the way back to her Twitter feed to pick out literal jokes that are obvious jokes to make it seem like she was tweeting those things, not in jest, not sarcastically, but she actually meant it. So I'm gonna give you a few examples, okay? She went all the way back, they went all the way back to the Obama years. They gave this example. Kenyan anti-colonial shows teeth to small child. Okay, so it's a picture of Obama, his mouth is open. And so she's making fun of people who referred to Obama not as an American citizen, not as an American who was born in America, but as a Kenyan. You guys really think that Olivia Nuzzi believes that Obama is Kenyan and not an American?
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, so look, the people who do those smears are some of the worst people in America. And I know that it's been done to me. And so they will take jokes that I said and then pretend they weren't jokes. And so that's happened to me thousands of times and happened pretty spectacularly during when I ran for Congress. All of a sudden, these Democratic trolls and bots appear out of nowhere and they find videos from 13 years ago, a blog from 19 years ago, something from 7 years ago, and they take a joke and they go, he meant it, he's anti-Semitic, he's anti-Muslim, he's racist, he's sexist, etc. They do it every time. And you make the country hate Democrats every time you do that. Because any reasonable person goes out and goes, well, obviously Nuzzi was joking. She doesn't think, she's making fun of the people who thought Obama was actually Kenyan. Now you're gonna lie and pretend she was being a racist right-winger? Oh, I hate all these Democrats who say everything is racist and everything is sexist.
Here's another example that they picked out. This is a tweet, again about Obama, dating back to 2016. Do you think Obama ever gets tired of being a secret Kenyan Muslim lizard person who plots terror attacks from the White House? Like, look, let me just say this. Not only is it disgusting when people who aren't racist are smeared as racist, specifically to try to destroy their careers over political disagreements, them picking out these tweets to paint her as a racist is insulting to all of our intelligence.
Yes,
okay?
And by the way, if you work at Bloomberg and you panicked over that,
pathetic.
Your intelligence should be insulted.
Seriously.
You should be greatly insulted. You can't tell those are jokes and you panicked over that? But like I said earlier, guys, they're not panicking over two randos. No, because they're not randos. There's some people who really mean it, like the Hal Sparks of the world, who are like, oh my God, Democratic leaders are the greatest people on earth. They've never done anything wrong. It's all 100 and 0. All the Republicans are monsters, and the Democrats are the most beautiful. And if you ever criticize a Democrat, sexist, racist, bigot, sexist, racist. Okay, yeah, we got it. So goddamn annoying. It actually hurts the Democratic Party greatly to have like people like that theoretically on our side, just embarrassing and humiliating the party over and over again with their ass kissing 24/7. So yes, there's some genuine people who do it, but there are tons of people who are sent out from the party to do these disingenuous attacks. And when they do that, basically what the Bloombergs of the world are deciding is, oh, the party's upset with us. and we have to go back to kissing their ass.
Yeah.
So
they canceled, Bloomberg decided after caving to this mob to cancel the high profile rollout of her show. And Nuzzi was critical of the network's decision to do so. She spoke to Ben Smith over at Semafor and said the following: "When I write something that agitates the right, I am accused of being a liberal activist. When I write something that agitates the left, I am accused of being a conservative activist." Olivia, totally agree, know exactly what that's like. The difference is that mainstream media organizations tend to ignore bad faith campaigns against reporters led by the right. I have no illusions about massive corporate media entities and their tolerance for even the faintest murmurs of a PR crisis. So I can't say I was surprised, but I was disappointed. And then she says the following, which I think is the most important point here. She says, "I really believe that if you want to live in a world that is forgiving and where people hold even those they disagree with to the same standards they wish to be held, you can't cave to mob pressures as a means to protect yourself, even when it would be a lot easier to do so. That's how this type of culture is formed and maintained, and as individuals, we get to decide if we think it's worth enduring a little pain to fight against it."
yeah, so look, if you don't think that there's Democratic bullies who try to make sure that no criticism of the Democratic Party or its leaders get out in the press, you just are literally ignorant. You're ignorant of how media works. So if you want to live and bask in that ignorance, that's up to you as if you're a normal citizen, okay? And believe in a fairyland where one side is 100% right and filled with angels, right? But if you're in the media and you keep caving to those bullies, are you really in news? Or are you just a low-level marketing executive?
Exactly. And by the way, to that mob of Democrats who are attacking Olivia Nuzzi, like, what exactly did they think was gonna happen if all of the reporters played ball and provided cover for the Democratic Party and pretended as if there was nothing wrong with Biden's mental health? Well, what do you think would have happened? Now all of a sudden there's all this excitement among the Democratic electorate now that Biden has been replaced with Kamala Harris. Is that not a better situation if you love the Democratic Party so much and you want to ensure that the Democrat wins over Donald Trump?
Yeah.
This is the thing about these people, Cenk. They want to sleepwalk toward their own destruction, like viciously so.
Yeah, no, so I want to comment on that. Two important things here at that. So number one, so for the people who helped to push Biden out, some of us have never been forgiven and will never be forgiven, even though we helped to get to a much better place.
I don't want your forgiveness, bitches.
Okay, so no, I know. But like,
at all.
But in my experience, the great majority of Democratic voters have now gone, oh, you guys are right, thank God. Oh my God, we're winning, we were losing, now we're winning, that's amazing. And I like Kamala Harris better than I like Joe Biden. I like Tim Walz a lot better than what we had before, etc. So great. Okay, now no matter how we got here, terrific, right? But there is a significant percentage of Democrats who are like, I will always do what leadership says. I am the bower. I bow, right? And those guys, they're still livid at all of us. Me, whoever else was involved, even Nancy Pelosi. But okay, so if you're just admitting you have no mind at all, you just will kiss the ass of any leader put in front of you. And that's just pathetic. And then finally, guys, why do you another reason not to do this stupid ass kissing is that it leads to an enormous distrust of the system. Why do you think people are so upset? Why do you think the right wing's so upset? A lot of progressives are so upset because we know that there is something else going on behind the scenes instead of what the media is reporting. So why do you think a lot of Democrats were like, oh my God, Nancy Pelosi all of a sudden hates Joe Biden and is trying to take him down? No, it's that she knew what all the professionals knew, which is that he was going to lose and he was going to drag Congress down with him. But she knew that for a long time. That's why it was a surprise to you, but not a surprise to her. So, but you never got told that story. So what happens? When you know the media is lying to you, it leads to conspiracy theories. So what else don't we know behind the scenes? And by the way, Nancy Pelosi was right. the Democrats were losing Congress to generic Republican versus Democrat by 2 points before when Biden was in the race. Now they're winning by 5 points. So they're much more likely to win Congress. But they never told you that while they had Biden in the race.
Right.
Because the media and Democratic establishment lied to you on purpose en masse to get you to vote for any Democratic leader, no matter who it is and no matter what their mental state is.
Yeah, look, I'm just real sick and tired of people who are motivated not by logic, not by what's best for the country, but by their desire to constantly get spanked by the elites. Yeah. And like the idea that journalistic institutions should cave to their demands infuriates me. But what infuriates me more is more often than not, they do cave to those demands. Because you're right, Cenk, they are obsessed with access. They are obsessed with ingratiating themselves with the Democratic Party, and they will do so to your detriment.
And I'll add one last thing here. Remember, the Democratic Party, now even more so than the Republican Party used to have the lead, but both of them are the top clients for a lot of these media companies. They buy an enormous amount of ads during election season. Last election season, when there wasn't even a presidential election, they spent $17 billion, almost all of which went to mainstream media. And so those mainstream media outlets, that's where their bread is buttered. So they're gonna kiss the Republican and Democratic parties' asses from here to eternity. And they're gonna lie to you from here to eternity and cover up their faults and pretend that Biden isn't too old, which was insanity. And the minute anyone points it out, whether it's us or Olivia Nuzzi, they're like, shame, heretic, telling the American people the truth. What if they find out, right? And they're supposed to be in news? I don't think so at all. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.